Okay, you should be able to hear it. Should be able to hear it now. Yeah. Okay. Well, it says that I'm live. Okay. Well, it says that I'm live. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So sorry about that. I think the sound should be working now. All right. Here we go. Who is this? Okay, well, I'll think about the thumbnail later on. Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Ryan from the Coronavirus Channel. Every day, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Coronavirus all the time. So, I want to talk about the coronavirus. Of course, because this is the Coronavirus Channel. And so, there's been a rumor going around that the coronavirus kind of spread from this gross looking bat soup, you know? Those people in Wuhan, oh man, their eating habits are so gross that they cause a virus and put humanity in peril. But turns out it's just like not true, this is like the worst meme I've seen. This is the most racist one, I think. But don't blame bat soup for the Wuhan virus. Actually, the coronavirus had an outbreak because someone forgot to wash their hands, or something like that. So you can check that out later. But this whole like blaming cultural things for like tying together people's cultural habits with like deadly viruses and bad things. It's kind of it's been a pattern in society for the last couple of years. Like another one is the plastic rice thing. You know, like there's this rumor going around that some of the Chinese companies have been trying to cut corners and they've been sprinkling plastic pieces, bits and pieces of plastic just to save a few bucks. Turns out that's false too. People have been making these videos about like, oh man, look at the plastic in the rice, and here's proof it bounces around. See, this guy, he was like, oh man,
Rice has got 80% of starch, which has got adhesive and cohesive properties. So the ball bouncing shown in the video is not unnatural. It is
Oh, actually, rice bouncing is actually totally normal. So, okay then. Okay, thanks India Gates Foods for things, for setting the record straight. So, but this is his just keeps on. This is like I said, it's a pattern, and I would say the biggest one is that there's a remember like depends how old you are, but you might remember growing up. It's just like, oh my god, MSG is so bad for you, right? It's so unhealthy. But apparently, when you do a little bit more digging, it turns out that MSG is actually not. There's like actually no scientific evidence connecting the usage of MSG with health problems. Actually, that a lot of people are talking about it now as it was like political propaganda by the restaurant industry that they didn't want to see the Chinese food industry succeed. So they spread these rumors about MSG being really bad for you, and then tried to put them out of business. It's a pretty dirty stuff, and it's still going on with the rice thing and the coronavirus thing with the bat soup. It's kind of insane, We don't know where these rumors start, but kind of the bigger problem is that nobody is making that much of an effort to stop it, and the internet doesn't really help either, So just kidding. This is not the coronavirus channel. If you notice, this is YIMBY Arts, and I do talk about Andrew Yang a lot. And I kind of wanted to talk about this a little bit in relation to what's going on with Andrew Yang's campaign. And although I did play this video a while ago, here it is. Andrew Yang talking about Chinese traditional medicine. He doesn't talk about being Asian all that much, He's not really into identity politics, and Andrew is, he throws out like, yeah, haha, I'm Asian, I know a lot of doctors, haha, but he usually tries to just throw out the Asian thing as a side thing and then move on to other topics. But here he's talking about his ideas on medicine, which is kind of I thought it was kind of interesting. It's kind of strange because I had to dig this video up from my own channel from July because I could not really find the media really writing too much about this topic. So let's just hear him out. Let's just see what he has to say.
Your version of Medicare for All, how would that work?
So I'm Asian. Many of you might have noticed. And there's a whole heritage of different holistic medicines and approaches to health, and different things work for different people. When my wife gave birth, she had a hard time feeling healthy again, and she saw an acupuncturist, and that was immensely helpful. My mother, who's newly retired, is an artist now. She's seen an herbalist, and that's very helpful. And so our insurance and our healthcare program should cover different types of holistic treatments that people find constructive and helpful and beneficial. Because many of these treatments have proven effects for at least some sets of people, and instead of having one standard or one size fits all, we should let Americans decide what works for them in terms of their own health and well-being.
Would those programs exist outside of FDA approval process? They would not need any kind of FDA approval or proof of their efficacy before they could be covered?
Many of the treatments I just described, right now, they don't require FDA approval because it's not a drug. Like you can't, so it's not that these holistic treatments take the place of traditional drugs. So most of the things we're talking about, those treatments, would not require FDA approval. That's correct.
Let's turn to the...
Okay, so, this is kind of an interesting point that doesn't get talked a lot, because, amidst the kind of the, people are talking about healthcare, right, in a very, I don't know, top-down kind of way right now. But, here Yang talks about a little bit of the nuance that is happening within the healthcare industry, right? Like he talks about acupuncture. Yang is actually very pro Chinese traditional medicines because there are certain ideas and methods within the Chinese culture that, a lot of Chinese people actually swear by, But those types of treatments, when you try to get like FDA approval or try to go through some kind of certification process in the West, they have a lot of trouble making it through the hoops. So I do think that when in a Yang administration, he's going to expand the definition of what medicine means, and this is something that you can check out Marianne Williamson. Because it's a really touchy subject because it's kind of weird, like Yang being, Asian himself, he has a little bit more credibility defending these types of practices. But when a white woman like Marianne Williamson says, oh man, acupuncture is great, a lot of people dogpile on her, and I feel kind of bad, But the thing is, Yang and Williamson, they are not anti-science. They're not Western medicine. They are actually pro alternative medicines, and they want to kind of expand the scope of what health really means, and it kind of ties into his whole like preventive care and the idea of health being something that you measure before you go to the emergency room, right? Not after. So, but it's going to be a tough road ahead, because you look at all these things and people are very, 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 what's the word? Paranoid of, outside ideas. And he's going to have to overcome that in order to kind of, realize the vision that he has for Americans' healthcare system. But I thought this would be like an interesting thing to point out, especially since kind of ties into the whole virus thing, going on right now. So at the end, just a funny tweet that he made a while ago around the same time. I ate Chinese food all the time growing up. I used to just call it food. That's what we kind of need to do with healthcare, right? What is good health? What is bad health? Is it Chinese health or American health? Doesn't matter. It's just good health is good health. So that's about it. So thanks a lot for watching, and see you in the next video. Okay, take care. Yang is a China agent. Yeah, I know, man. He wants to bring Chinese medicines. The voodoo, woo-woo. I don't even know. Oh, man. Can get pretty nasty. Alright, I got my video in. Good. So I need this picture, of course. I feel like I'm playing a video game about... Okay, no. That makes sense. Need for Speed. Okay. India Gate Foods, okay. I guess I have to make the... I had to take down my video of the tiny houses for the homeless thing.
Each night, tens of thousands of people sleep in tent cities crowding the palm-lined boulevards of...
On property, building a small...
to move 8 of the threatened houses into storage before they were confiscated, but their residents had nowhere to go.
I had to evict 2 veterans who...
the threatened houses into storage.
Refused.
Okay, let me finish this up while I'm still at it. Yeah, I don't need this anymore. I don't need this. I don't need this. I'm probably going to regret it. India Gate Foods. I just have to remember that. India Gate Foods. India Gate Foods. Don't let me forget. As pageant friend from Ohio Convention and what are thoughts? Healthcare. She mentions sports, Yang, alternative medicine. Like I know, and the thing is, there's a lot of people who swear by alternative medicines. They have a following. Like it is very, very strong because everyone like has this. Even my ex was like super into Chinese traditional medicines. And her and her parents, and she was like super white, so So there is a hardcore following of traditional Chinese medicines and stuff like that, because they have a long history. They ain't dumb. They've been around for a while and they've been working on this for a while. But it's interesting because like Chinese medicines, they tend to focus more on the whole, right? Health is like, oh, maybe I should have talked about this more, but in Western medicine, it's like you have a symptom and then a prescription, right? That's how it works. Asians tend to think of health as more holistic, right? So you just have you have to take care of your body, before you go to the emergency room. And you have, I don't know, there's like, oh, it's weird the way they describe it. It's like, your body is very dry right now. You need more wetness. So in order to get more wetness, you should eat these kinds of foods. And I'm like, okay. And alternative meds never help me. Yeah, but see, there are, and it's hard because it's mixed in, right? The alternative meds is like, it's mixed in with scams, and there are scams. Like, yeah, you don't trust the big pharma, that's why, right? And everybody has a story about being fucked over by big pharma. So then they become very skeptical of the doctors, because like everybody has a experience where they went to the doctor and then they charge you thousands of dollars and it didn't do shit. So then they get really angry and then they're like, oh, fuck this, I want something that works. It's not going to overcharge me. Maybe I need to redo that video. Oh my god. See, there's so much more to talk about. No, don't. I'm not doing it again. See, if people want more of it, I can talk. See, that's the thing. Oh, the Hmong people sell 3 soap for $30. Hey, good for them. Make a profit. Okay, I think I can do this. It's pretty straightforward. It's like, what does Yang mean? But it means like micro apartments and communal living. Well, here are a few examples, and this is why we can't do it. NIMBYs are to blame. And then we go back here, and we go to the NIMBY. There we go. See, it's a big circle. So I see here some like doctor citing experiment defective vaccination. Well, that happens. Maybe that's a mistake, but the problem really is that it's just like it's way too expensive, And the reason why it's expensive is not because quality is good; it's because of corruption. Yeah. Oh well, yeah. But yeah, it's a hard problem to solve, Hello everyone, this is Ryan from the YIMBY Arts project. So, YIMBY stands for Yes in My Backyard, which is the opposite of Not in My Backyard. And a long story short, the reason why I support Andrew Yang back there is because, he talks about NIMBYism. And he knows it's bad, and we gotta do something about it. So, I'm just making a quick video here about, his housing. He's working. I know he's working. I talked to some of the staffers, and I know he's working on a more comprehensive housing plan. I'm looking forward to when that comes out. But micro apartments and communal living for people in high density urban areas. Right? It's very, very specific. But what does this mean? Especially if you live in one of the really, really expensive cities like I am in LA, or San Francisco, or Portland, or Seattle, or New York, Chicago's not that bad, but Boston and on and on and on. You might have noticed that it's very, very expensive to live in these cities. Does it have to be that way? Not necessarily. So what does he mean by micro apartments and communal living? Well, here's a few examples. One of the bigger ones, okay, this is about communal urban living, and you might have seen, if you live in one of those cities, you might have seen some of these pop out. Yeah, so basically they're usually pretty new. They're usually fairly modern looking. And the idea is that you're kind of sharing a space with other people. So you have your own room, but you have a common living space, kind of like living in a dorm, So if you want to relive your college days, this is a good way to do it, And then I don't see why not, especially if you're young and don't have kids. It's just kind of like, well, it's a way to save money. You just have pay for your room, and then you can share the bathrooms and kitchens and the living area, and make a few friends in the meantime as well. So that's kind of cool, And then here's another one I get a lot is 3D printed homes. These are great because they're super cheap and super fast. So you can make a little tiny home like this for $4,000 in 24 hours. That's fast. If you need a lot of homes built right away, you can do it in a day. So these are good, and assuming you have the access to land, you can get these up really, really quickly if you want to. And then some other ones, shipping container homes. This is pretty common in, it's a commonly mentioned idea. They're already building some of these. So they basically, you have all these extra shipping containers sitting around. And the idea is that you kind of stack them together and build a home. And you can actually make it look pretty nice, I'm sure they do. They treat the walls with insulation and all that kind of stuff to make it livable. But it's one way to get cheap housing built very, very quickly at affordable price. Now, why is rent still so high even though we're all doing this? Well, I don't want to end this on a downer, but this guy, out of the goodness of his heart, raised a lot of money to build little tiny homes for the homeless population in LA. And let's see what they did.
They just wanted to take them and destroy them.
Summers managed to move 8 of the threatened houses into storage before they were confiscated, but their residents had nowhere to go.
I had to evict 2 veterans who paid their ticket. They shouldn't be homeless, period. Just, I get angry. They did their service. They gave up their dreams.
Yeah, so basically, he made these homes, and these are what we call NIMBYs, right? Not in my backyard. And then so the homeowners kind of around the neighborhood started complaining about it because they thought it was an eyesore, right?
Passes.
Most of some residents who want the homeless out of their backyards.
They had the children walking in the middle of the street and not on the curbside when they're going over the overpasses.
Most of Summers' tiny houses were placed on private land that's been donated to the project.
I know. So anyway, this was completely legal. The guy did all the paperwork and all the, met all the legal requirements. But then the neighbors started complaining. And so the city came in and seized them and destroyed them, And then basically they threw them back on the streets. Like instead of being housed, now they're just back on the streets. Like it's kind of nuts, They took away the very last thing of privacy that they had. So maybe this gives an explanation why NIMBYism is so bad. I think a lot of people kind of know what this is, but they never seen it in practice. But this is the sorts of things they do, right? And the biggest, probably the worst part about this is that it doesn't even help them as homeowners too, right? Like before, they gave them these houses and they had a little bit of privacy, and they gave them a little bit of hope that they can get their life together, because it's hard when you just like leaving all your stuff in a tent and people can just take any of that, right? You have no privacy, no security, no sense of home, really. This gave them a little bit of hope, and then they just took it away. And the worst part is that yeah, okay, it's kind of weird that maybe there's some little tiny homes on the sidewalk, but now they're just wandering the streets again. Is that better? Did that actually improve the situation at all? I wouldn't say so. So this is the sort of thing that we have to deal with in the housing space, and I'm hoping that through kind of the Yang Gang and YIMBY stuff I'm doing, the conversations around these will start to get better over the next few years because, these are all great ideas, and you know what? The NIMBYs say no to all of them. They fight tooth and nail to make sure these things don't come into their neighborhood because it changes the neighborhood character. That's in the code war. That's a code word for not in my backyard also. So, okay, so if you have any questions, let me know. And, see you in the next video. Okay, take care. All right, good. So I got my 2 videos in, but I'm not gonna release them all. I'm gonna be disciplined about it. Okay, just 1 video a day. Univision reporting not to take swine flu vaccination. That's bad if you can't even trust the doctors. Wow. It was black just because, oh man. Yeah, that stuff happens all the time though, man. Everybody's racist against everyone, man. It's hard. Yeah, oops, wrong link. Where's my video? Oh man, viruses freak people out though, huh? You notice that? It's like, if it was a serious threat, the CDC would be just like all over it, They'd be like, hey, stay inside. And then people get really like, ooh, Oh man. They're asking for more money. I can't do it. I can't do it right now. Sorry. Ooh, I'm a little afraid to look at the video suggestions because it'd be like, people can get weird about that. Okay, what's going on here? Oh man, this is like the homeless guy that he's a homeless guy, but he's a YIMBY, so very the smart guy, but he's like, man, in San Francisco, this is a good example of how like San Francisco fucks you up, It's like it's a terrible, cruel city. So he's just like trying to get, he's just look at all this bureaucratic bullshit he has to deal with, and he's like, he's barely holding on to sanity because he's like about to be homeless, and they make you feel in all this shit, and oh my god, I don't know how he does it. Anyway, build more housing, okay. Okay, what's going on here? Massive discounting patents. Okay. Oh yeah, Mateo was the housing guy. He's trying to start a housing startup. It's not gonna be easy, man. But MSFT. Pro tech industry, not rant, but a lot of companies are trying their best to deal with the problem. Stressed aren't in their own. There we go. Okay, well, that one, yeah. Unfriending. I started to be in the habit of not thinking about pain, distress. Good. Awesome. You're making progress. Keep it up. Keep it up. Yeah. Interview with Yang Gang. Good. Okay. 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 Keep that. Need for Speed. Why is it so... Okay, they're talking about we're family. Okay. Battlefield 5. I've never played this game. It's one of those. Battlefield. What? John Delaney? No. John Debney. Okay, whatever. This is good enough. I should just throw out the Asian thing as a side thing and then move on to other topics. But here, he's talking about art, but to put this Maybe I should release this. Since a lot of people are talking about it now as it was like political propaganda by the restaurant industry. Yeah, I know. Imagine if LA stopped being dumb about housing, right? Housing is actually totally normal. So, okay then. Well, I'll think about. Hello everyone, this is Ryan. Okay. Hello everyone. Hello everyone. This is Ryan. Hello everyone. Okay, good. Okay. Because going on right now. So at the health, is it Chinese health or American health? Does it matter? It's just good health is good health. So that's about it. So thanks a lot for watching and see you in the next video. Okay, take care. Yeah, doesn't sound like a good guy either, honestly, to be honest, okay. Hashtag coronavirus. Or is it just corona? When you make your HOA video, what is that? Did I promise something? Did I promise I would make a video of HOA? I mean, what do you want me to do? You want me to go to an HOA meeting and just like film the ridiculous things that they talk about on there? I mean, wow, I don't want to do that. What? There's already a channel for that. Didn't they talk about it in? Oh man, they recommend me something. They already recommended me in the roundtable. They told me, "Oh, you should watch this HOA thing." I forgot what it was called. It's in there somewhere. Okay, so coronavirus. What is that? Is that an advanced version? Share crazy stories. I'm sure I don't know, there's tons of crazy stories out there already, though. You know what I mean?
Does this suburban...
I know all about this. This is the one where the Chinese couple moved in and everyone was being a dick to them, and partly think it's racism, but whatever. How about this just be a collection of hashtags? Bat soup. I knew it. I knew it! Bat soup. What did I talk about? I also talk about, MSG. Plastic, rice, MSG. Racism. Alternative medicine. Andrew Yang. There we go. Alright. That's number 1. I know all about this, though. The Flintstone house. Yep. So, I used to live right over over that hill. So I used to see this all the time. A Chinese couple bought the house.
San Francisco home look like a page right out of history? With dinosaurs on display, Fred happily waving to guests, and a welcoming yabba dabba do sign.
I thought it was hilarious, you know? And you know what they did? They fucking sued them. They're like, no, I don't like the way that looks. And oh man, this is why homeowners hate each other, man. Like, they're like, what? I'm not breaking any laws. I just like Flintstones a lot. I thought it's hilarious. I thought about it, and then they sued them.
USA. They'd like to be known as Hillsborough, USA.
The attorney for Hillsborough says the dinosaur and animal statues, along with some other decorations, required design review and building permits.
Design
which the owner did
review.
not acquire before they were installed. The town says the property is an eyesore.
Hi, Florence. Lani, it's so nice to see you. Great to meet you as well.
The home's owner was featured in a 2018 short documentary about the property called The Flintstone House. Retired publishing executive Florence Fang says she loves her house and how happy it makes other people.
Yes.
Everybody passing by this says, I start smile.
Yes.
I start smile. Look at the house, I start smile.
I know, they hate happiness. NIMBYs hate happiness.
But the very unhappy town of Hillsborough wants her to take down the statues and get the proper permissions before she puts them back up.
Most town residents that I've talked to feel like this entire installation is far out of character for the town of Hillsborough.
Out of character. What does that mean, right?
And they worry that if it's allowed to go on here, maybe somebody else will want to put up a Jetsons or Star Wars installation elsewhere in the town.
Why? What's wrong with that?
That everybody's going to have to look at all the time.
But Fang's attorney says she's going to vigorously fight this lawsuit on behalf of her client, who just wants to enjoy her property.
Yep, wealthy people are petty, okay? That's just a rule of thumb. Yeah, it's like, who gives a shit, right? It's her property. She can do whatever she wants. Makes her happy, it makes other people happy. Why are you trying to take away that happiness, you know? Then it's just like, it's like, why? Like, is it really, like, you don't have, nobody's forcing you to look at this house, you know? Like, eyesore. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me?
The house was built in 1976. It's always been a very popular home.
Hey, I know her. She ran for mayor. I like that she's defending her. Yeah, I actually knew the guy who was doing marketing for her, her campaign for mayor. Oh man,
Northern California. People love going by it on 280. They look forward to it.
It's a fight for the survival of these dinosaurs, who seem to be facing extinction once again.
Man, they like threw in some upbeat music, but it's kind of fucked up if you think about it. Okay, actually, this video is actually pretty good. I'll save it. Never see this shit in my city. I know. People don't give a shit. Or are you talking about this shit or what shit? Or what shit are you talking about? I'll save this for later. I think I can. Everybody minds their own business. Yeah, that's all it should be. You know, like, why are you going way? Like, come on. See, and like, it is the worst example of NIMBYism because it's the most pettiest of all. You know, and it is like, is it a safety hazard? No. Is it a, you know, is it causing any trouble? Like, no. It's just like, I just don't like the way it looks, and if you don't comply, we're gonna sue you. I'm like, what the fuck? You know, and I honestly think, like, this wasn't a problem until it was brought up by a Chinese person. So, you know, let's keep that in mind, you know. The idea, they're already building some of these, so they basically... Alright, you know, NIMBYs want to take away your happiness. Go back here. That'd be the title. Like... dry right now. You need her and her parents, you know. And okay, where did I go? Seattle. About Hello, everyone. This is Ryan from the YIMBY Arts. Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Ryan from the YIMBY Arts. Mind your own fucking business. So, okay, so if you have any questions, let me know. And, see you in the next video. Okay, take care. Hey, wait, I'm in connected to 10 places. What the hell's going on? Is that area in HOA? They're all in the HOA. HOA is just homeowners association, right? So any like suburban or any single family neighborhoods will probably have an HOA, and they tend to attract the worst. Homeowners are already a little bit, they're already a little bit, petty already, but the people who's like, let's do politics. Usually they're the worst. So you have the worst of the worst going to the HOA meetings. The head of the HOA is probably the worst NIMBY in the universe. Like most homeowners are reasonable, regular people, but it's just like there's something about the HOA thing, because they set a lot of rules, and so it attracts a lot of people who are like, your bench needs to be like 5 feet and 5 feet long, no more than 6 feet, otherwise we'll come and sue you. Who would who would that sort of work appeal to, right? And so anyway, all HOAs should be dismantled, I think. It'd probably be good for society, but micro apartments. Micro apartments. Andrew Yang zoning policy. And micro apartments. Micro apartments. .3D printing, housing, shipping containers. NIMBYs. I hope Twitter knows the difference between an S and not an S, right? I think. Oh yeah, the other part is that in many neighborhoods you are forced to join the HOA. So there's that too. They really you're forced to pay an HOA fee or they get real pissy. You might be able to fight it. Dude, the HOA is a gang. It's like a gang. They like, they go and take your money and then they're like, say, hey, nice house you have there. A shame if something would happen to it. Alright, here we go. That's one. You still have to pay rent in HOA.
Some towns attract big crowds for their incredible Christmas decorations, but here's the Christmas.
Oh god. Oh god, yeah, this is the shit you have to deal with every time, yeah. They try to, man. Like, they're vicious, man. They like, what, you don't pay your whole, well, you're not part of the club. I'm like, you know, they like haze you, man. It's like joining a cult almost.
A story you haven't seen before. A nasty neighbor wrecking the halls instead of decking them. It's so bad, one neighbor even called it the Christmas from hell, and you have to see it to believe it. Here's Deborah Roberts with the town that got Scrooged.
'Twas the week before Christmas and all through the night, the glow of homes blanketed with light.
I think I know where this is going.
Lights. Here comes Santa Claus. Bright, dazzling excess. It may seem over the top, unless you've been to this neighborhood in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Welcome to the home of the modern-day Scrooge on Fairley Road.
You saw this one?
He's an angry person.
Any opportunity he has to make our life a hardship, he does.
He is Bill Ansell, an electrician by day who neighbors say uses his skills to terrorize them at night, all year long. Take a look at his holiday horror display, a beheaded choir, a hanging Mickey Mouse. Even the jolly old man is being naughty, not nice.
And Santa, the urinating Santa, does that actually work?
Yes.
At night?
Oh man, I don't know about this. So this is a little over the top. And he's doing this on purpose to piss them off. So it's okay. I don't know. Maybe there's a gray area.
Nice.
Okay.
Chris and Joanne Hebda have been staring at this Nightmare Before Christmas display every day for the last 6 years, because Fairley Road is a circular street with Bill's house smack in the middle.
Oh man, he loves it.
Here at all.
He gives new definition to the word relentless.
It almost sounds like you're a hostage in your own home.
Exactly.
The Hebdas moved here.
Okay, come on, let's not exaggerate, okay? Get over it, okay?
30 years ago, thinking it was a happy place to raise their kids.
Oh no!
Their neighbors did
See,
too,
this is the thing they care about.
Ansell
Like, I mean,
went all bah humbug on them. Tacked up all over his house are profane, personalized signs.
oh man, first world problems.
The neighbors.
It's so
have
first
been the
world.
target of these
The first
signs?
world is
Show of
so
hands.
firsty.
I believe everybody has.
What is the worst thing he
It's,
said in these signs?
We can't even repeat it.
In fact,
You
some
can't
are so
even
perverse we
repeat
can't even
it.
show them to you. This heartless message turned up the day after Tom White's wife died.
Why would somebody even do that?
Yeah, why
We
would
wondered
they?
the same thing
Why would they
until
do
we
that?
stumbled upon kind of the ghost of Christmas past.
This display is dedicated to Ross Township. Shame on you for destroying my display that brought so much joy and happiness to so many people.
Yes, it seems that years ago, before all this darkness, there was light, bright lights, Christmas lights. Who'd guessed that this happy holiday home was Bill Ansell's? Turns out he was a Christmas fanatic. But one Thanksgiving, neighbor Pam Heck asked Bill to tone it down a little while her family had dinner.
It was very unpleasant between us after that.
And it went downhill from there.
That was the moment this
Oh
Christmas
shit!
tale took
Oh
a
man, it
twist
was
in
all.
time.
See, man, you gotta be careful, man. Gotta be careful. See, this is the problem with idealists, is because, you know, people who are very, very idealistic, when things go bad, they go real bad. You know. So, see, there's a connection between idealism and nihilism, because they're kind of the same thing. You know, one's optimistic, the one is pessimistic, but they're the same thing. So, long story short, that's why Bernie is really angry, okay?
I used to have a beautiful Christmas display. They hated it.
This is the Bernie of Christmas.
I don't think it's
You know?
a lot of...
They started off with good intentions, and then they're like, oh man, the neighbor complained, and I'm like, so mad now, I'm gonna burn it all down.
Exercise your right to have your own display.
So Ansell decided to deck the halls with boughs of hatred. replacing his twinkling lights with lights, blasting them nightly into his neighbor's windows.
It'll be 3 o'clock in the morning.
This is kind of funny, actually. Oh, man.
And he's underneath a tarp with a sledgehammer, hammering in the middle of the night to wake up the entire neighborhood.
Okay, that's a noise ordinance. Okay.
You're a prisoner on your own street. It can come down to a matter of just leave the house empty and move.
Pam says the stress of it all even led to her divorce.
It was a strain every day.
Okay, don't blame your divorce on the Christmas light sky, okay?
I would always be saying, stand up for me, do something. He's almost hit me today, you know, with his car.
The residents of Fairleigh
Oh
Road
man,
are
don't
at their
blame
wits'
your.
end. They say they've called police dozens
That would
of
have happened
times,
anyway, you
filed
know?
multiple lawsuits against Ansel, even tried killing him with kindness.
We would take ties over to him.
And then
They
he
tried to
threw
kill
the clothes
him.
on the street afterwards.
Now even the mere sight of her neighbor strikes fear in Joanne Hebda.
Oh, there he is. He's coming up.
We tried approaching Ansel's home.
Hello? Or you just want to ask you a couple of questions, Bill? You want to have anything to say? Hey, Bill?
And he clearly means it. The sign says he'll shoot.
Bill, it's Deborah Roberts from ABC News. Can I talk to you?
His only response was this. Ansel was in no mood to talk.
Bill?
But has the town made any attempt to do anything?
Not to our knowledge.
We asked them to enforce the code, but so far, it hasn't been done.
They say the town's done nothing more than fine Ansel. But in a statement, Ross Township told us they've taken and will continue to take appropriate legal action.
The court order is to clean the debris up in the yard.
In reply, Ansel simply ignored the court order. And unlike Ebenezer Scrooge,
Yeah, what are they gonna do
no
about
happy
it?
ending. No Christmas miracle in sight for
Sue
Fairleigh
him
Road.
again?
We decided that we would rent our home.
Oh, and then let your
lower than it
let your
should be.
tenants.
Is it going to be a financial hardship trying to get out
Oh,
of here?
yes, it will. It's a move for our lives.
Oh man, oh good. Oh.
Can you still enjoy the season?
If you go somewhere
Yeah, you have to go somewhere else.
So when everything else has failed, what would you do if your neighbor just said bah humbug and ruined your Christmas? Let us know.
Bah humbug. Yep. All right. Well, I'll save that for later too, I guess. Hey, Ryan. Phone banking and not one fish. Oh, when? How's it going? Oh man. Feeling guilty about not text banking. Actually, that's what I'm doing right now. But I'm making good. You know, I'm making videos. See, I figured out a way how to tie in the coronavirus with Andrew Yang, you know, through this really long hashtag thought process right here. I should do at least one text bank, okay? Before, I'm gonna do it over the weekend. I'm gonna do at least 1 or 2 text bank, at least, you know. They gotta do something. Yeah, I prefer doing canvassing, but it's just, I signed up, I'm in the system, you know, I should do it. But I made videos today, so it's pretty good. Yeah, I gotta remind myself, I've done kind of a lot, you know. I've done more than most people have, so, you know, I probably shouldn't feel guilty about it. You know, instead of looking for a job, I've been yanking people, you know. That's kind of a lot. So, but you could always be doing more. Could always be doing more. All right. Well, so I have no idea what's going on today on Twitch. Apparently, there's supposed to be some kind of political roundtable.
Socials, as always.
Not her, but Hosted by who's Hutch? I really don't want to watch. Like, I really don't want to watch the impeachment. Hey, Zach is here. Zach and Matt. This is not Andrew Yang. This is not Andrew Yang. Okay, well, I'll be back later. Alright, so, you know, Based Liberty. Oh, actually, this guy, contacted me. Why is the left so cringe? Well, we could have a discussion about that. You know, he came into my stream a few times, and he's like, "Hey, you're a lefty, but you know, hey, you're a lefty, but you did not yell at me, even though I'm right winger." I'm like, "Yeah, what about it, punk?" And he's like, "Ah, you want to talk about housing?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So now we're best friends. Well, not really, but you know. I don't know, is like, so I'm trying to get, so this is what's going on, Wago, you know, this is what's going on. I am now, you might have noticed, but I'm now trying to talk to more people on Twitch about politics. You know, I went to this roundtable thing, and it was actually a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I was a little bit worried they were gonna dogpile on me because of all the Bernie people there, but it was actually a pretty good discussion, you know? So, thousands of text back. Oh man, you're a you're a trooper, man. Yeah, I hate talking on the phone. Like, I really don't like it. I like talking to people in person, or streaming is fine too, or email is fine too, but it's just like phones are like in that middle ground where you don't really know what's, you know, it's like a disembodied voice coming out of nowhere, you know. It's kind of weird. It weirds me out. So, oh, you have a gig? Oh yeah. Oh man, tell me about it, man. Like, I remember when I used to gig, it was just like, whoa, shit. My chops aren't up to, you know. So I gave up on becoming a professional French horn player very, very quickly. Oh man, I learned the hard way. Well, I mean, it wasn't that hard. It's just like, wow, this sucks. I quit. You know. So then I found, what did I do after that? And then I worked for a video game company as a QA tester for a while. And then I got into grad school, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. And then I became a librarian after that. And then I went, what happened after? Man, I did a lot of shit. Okay, so I went to grad school, I went to Cal Arts, I got my MFA in music composition. It was a good time, but you know, I was just like, hey, I'm working for the library. Because I want to eat and stuff. So then I got a job at the library, and that paid the bills for a few years. And then I got into a PhD program, and then that didn't work out. So then I joined a startup. Then startup went to, and then I got into data, and I became a techie, and then I worked for the government. And then that was done, and then I got crypto, and then now I'm here, yanging people. Wow. People said I could write a book about my life, but I don't know, man. It'd just be kind of confusing. Alright, I think I'm almost done. But I do need to babysit this premiere, which is going to happen in about 10 minutes, so I'll wait for that. I should make the bat soup. I think I should release this video tomorrow, because it's still topical, you know? Oh, god damn. Okay. Extra, what am I looking for? I'm looking for Canva. Okay, this is a very Need for Speed Payback, okay. I'm gonna fall asleep. Can I, put Yang's face on this? Hey, what? Really? Okay, that was just... okay, whatever. I don't know what I'm doing right now. Then, is there a picture of Andrew Yang I could use, huh? Andrew Yang eating a chicken. There we go. Man, they really found the most ugliest picture. It's Jacobin, though, you know? Music's not bad on this one. Man, I don't even know what this is, but hey, whatever. This is fine. It's fine. Yang and bat soup. Bat soup, Yang. Bat soup. Oops. One day, the politics category will be full of followers everywhere. You have to live in Florida, okay. $15 an hour, that's kind of funny, actually. It's so on theme, man. Alright, so here's the first lady shooting an assault rifle. That's cool. Not the first lady, that's the queen, isn't it she? I don't know. Alright, so I think I'm done for today. If anyone's still there, thanks for coming. Is it, oh yeah. So, we'll see. This week is going to be a little bit crazy, so I'm not sure if we're going to be streaming tomorrow, but, you know, I'll be here 3 or 4 times a week. That's kind of the schedule I'm going for. Okay, and you'll see me more often doing roundtables and stuff, I think. So, okay, see you guys later.